What's up guys, here with another Aderonn Airsoft review. Here we are with the S&T Tavor or Tar-21. Now you can get this online for between $160 and $180 depending upon where you look. And for the price, if you're looking for this specific model gun, if you want a Tavor and you've seen it in video games or you just think it looks cool, then by all means, go for it. People online are quick to judge and they're saying that this is a piece of garbage and definitely not worth the money. If you want this model gun, get it. It'll work fine for you. As long as you don't push it to its limits in terms of a higher rate of fire, like a really high rate of fire, or you don't put in a crazy heavy spring, it'll be fine. You're not going to have any issues with the gearbox. It does have a polymer or some sort of heavy plastic gearbox instead of metal, but I'll get into that later. You're probably not going to have any problems with this as long as you run it as it should be run. As for the body, the externals aren't as bad as everybody's saying they are. There's no wobble or squeakiness or flexing in the body that I've experienced except for right here on the stock, and that's easily fixable with a some sort of foam support on the inside. Otherwise, you're not going to have any problems with this gun in my opinion. I've shot it a little bit and it ranges out 120 feet, no problem on a man-sized target. So, final conclusion before we actually get into the review. If you're looking at this gun specifically, you want this model of gun, then go ahead and get it. I recommend this over the Ares model just because the Ares model is really expensive and I don't think worth it. But if you're just in general looking for a mid-priced, mid-range AEG, you don't have to have this, then go with something like a combat machine or something. But if you are set on having one of these, nothing's stopping you, go for it. So, now to the review. So here we have the gun. Now what you see on the screen right now, the gun and this magazine, is pretty much all you'll get when you buy this gun. There's no battery, no charger. The box is very simple. It's just a plain cardboard box with a sticker on it, and it has a plain cardboard insert to hold the gun. So S&T, or whoever actually makes this gun, the manufacturer, really cut down any unnecessary ends as far as packaging. So, I mean, I guess that's nice, cutting costs. The magazine is just a very simple STANAG M4 mag, high cap, 300 rounds, but it's actually pretty high quality. It's not bad at all. It has the winding wheel on the bottom, which has a satisfying click. So, as far as the magazine goes, it's a nice magazine. The gun, I don't have any huge complaints. I mean, everybody is ragging on this gun. It seems to be the main gun that's taking abuse right now on the internet. But I have no huge problems with it besides a couple little things that I'll address in this video, which can be either overlooked or fixed. So, as for construction, it's pretty much just a two-piece main stock right here. There's one for each side, and here you can see the seam line. I mean, it's not a terrible seam line, but it's noticeable. But, you know, you'll get over it. Now, the plastic is some sort of lower quality ABS plastic, but it does have a quite nice texture to it, which helps mask any issues you have with the plastic. So, I mean, it's not like, ooh, this is terrible. I mean, I kind of just said, oh, okay. You know, people said it was bad, but it's not as bad as they said. The texture really helps make it seem a little bit higher quality. As for the black plastic here, it's probably the same plastic, but it's smooth, and without that texture you can kind of see that it's a little bit cheaper. The rear and front sight especially, you can see that it's somewhat cheaper. I don't care for the sights in particular. I'd rather use some sort of optic on the rail, but I'll mention that in a second. As for construction, the only real complaint I have, I mean, there's a little bit of wobble in this up top part right here, but you're not going to put anything on there. It doesn't really matter if it wobbles too much. It's only like a millimeter, so that's fine. As for the stock right here, the very back of the stock, that's my main complaint, is it creaks a little bit and it sort of flexes. That's not a huge issue though. You could probably take these two pins out and pop this black plate off, and you can put a block of foam in there, or you could put some sort of plastic support. You can just fill that in with something and problem solved. It's not going to flex as much and it won't sound hollow. So that's an easy fix right there. As for construction though, it's not quite as bad as everybody says. It does weigh about 4 to 4.5 pounds, which is light for an AEG, but it doesn't feel cheap light. The gearbox, the weight of the gearbox is all in the back, and you have a metal barrel on the inside, which is quite nice to help weigh down the front. So it's not that bad, and once you put the magazine in, it helps out and makes it feel a bit more solid. As for metal parts, you have your aluminum barrel, or it feels like aluminum. It's just a nice black barrel. The trigger, the selector switch right here is metal, which is nice, and then the bolt right here, and also this circle right here, which I think this is actually like a QD sling mount, but that's just a guess. I'm not sure. Now, as for construction, it's not that bad. For functionality, it's pretty cool. It does have a couple nice features. Flip up front sights, and flip up front and rear sight. I think that's a nice feature. Although I'm not going to use them. The rear sight is relatively low and close to the stock, so it's difficult to get your eye low enough. And then the hole in the rear sight to look through is quite small, so it's somewhat difficult. So like I said before, I'd probably end up just using the rails and putting some sort of optic on there. The battery compartment is right here in this grip right here. Simply push this black button right here. On the real one, it's used to activate the laser on the Mars sight. But for this, push the button and you take off this battery cover. Here's your small type to make connector. Simply plug the battery in, tuck the battery into this spot right here, wrap the wires, and it'll fit no problems. You can fit this, you can fit a 9.6 volt block type like this, as long as it's a lower milliamp hours, like 1600 or something, just to keep size down. Or you could fit a 9.6 butterfly type with the 2 single stacked rows. As for putting the battery case back on, just tuck your wires and your battery in, push this battery or the button back down, and slide the cover back on. No problems. It does have this orange flash hider. It's kind of cheap. I would just tape over it or paint over it when you get to a game, but always be safe and have an orange tip on when transporting the gun. Now right here you do have a working charging handle. Now let me pull it back right here so you can see. Oh, my bad. That was the other side. But it reveals this hop-up chamber right here. Now you do see the red cylinder inside and the gearbox, which is, I wish it was like silver or something. That would look a little bit cooler. But the main reason is your hop-up wheel is right there. It just looks like a standard version 2 hop-up wheel. Now I know the hop-up is slightly different than a version 2, but no big deal. At least I've heard it's different. I haven't taken it apart. I will confirm that though later on. So you just spin it like a normal hop-up wheel. Now skipping to this back portion right here, this is your bolt release. Now the only problem I have with the bolt is that the bolt is a sort of metal, but the body is plastic. So I'm assuming when you release this metal hitting plastic, that's not a great combination. So I'll release it right now. It has a satisfying sound, and I'm sure it's fine for normal use, but just don't go pulling the bolt back and releasing it over and over and over just because you're bored, because you will end up breaking it eventually. But just for normal use, if you have to adjust your hop-up, feel free. Pull the charging handle back, adjust it, and release it. Just be wary of it. Moving on, here you have your selector switch. Pretty decent selector switch, satisfying click, no problems there. It is a little bit not confusing, but just weird that the spacing between semi and or safe and semi, and then semi to full is different. It seems like you have to travel twice the distance to get from safe to semi as you do for semi to full. But it's not bad. Satisfying click. So as for the selector switch, it's pretty good. It's not ambidextrous per se, but you can see on this side when I switch, there is a little indicator. So this gun isn't fully ambidextrous like it's thought to be, but not bad. Right here you do have the magazine release, which is fully ambidextrous. You can access it from both sides. Here we have the magazine going into the magazine well. If I can do this upside down, there we go. And you just simply push the magazine release. This little piece right here will pop up to release the magazine, and then you can just pull it out. Now, if you have the gun straight up and down and you push the magazine release, this is not going to fall out, which is kind of nice, just in case if you bump this, it's not going to fall out. But you just pull the magazine out, you won't have any issues. And like we said, on the back right here, you have your bolt catch or your bolt release. So that's the main functionality of the gun. I'm actually impressed with all the little features. I really did like the bolt release and bolt catch. That was pretty cool. This gun does have a 409mm inner barrel, being that the magazine goes in right here, the hop up is right here. So you have all this barrel space. It's longer than an M4 inner barrel, and it's in like a CQB sort of small package. So as for this gun, I mean, general conclusion, it performs like any other clone gun would be expected to perform. It's not as bad as everybody says, so if you are in the market for a gun like this, you want something unique, something different, or you really want a Tar-21 or Tavor-21 because you think it looks awesome, or you're doing an Israeli loadout, which I also forgot to mention, it does have trades. Right there you have your trades, and then unfortunately right here's the Made in China trade, I guess, but engraved in here is all the Israeli trademarks and stuff, which is pretty cool. I definitely thought that was interesting. But if you are in the market for Tavor-21, by all means, go ahead and get this. You won't be disappointed. Inside, it does have a like a polymer gearbox, but that's not going to be an issue as long as you run it under normal conditions. You're not pushing 30 rounds a second, or you're not trying to push 450, 500 feet per second. You'll be fine. It is, so I've heard, I'm just going on other people's information that I've read online from several different sources, but it does have a slightly modified version 2 gearbox. So as far as I know, it should be compatible with version 2 gears, version 2 cylinder head, cylinder, piston. That should all be fine. I'm not entirely sure what type of motor it has, but I would assume it's a long type like the version 2 gearbox. The only difference though really is that instead of the version 2 gearbox being here and the motor being angled down like this, instead of it angled down, it's sort of in the version 6 position and sort of going parallel. So it should be version 2 compatible. As far as the hop up in here, it's alright. I would, if possible, put in a new bucking or something, because the one it has is just a little bit odd. But as for the gun, for the price, if you're looking for a Tavor-21 or Tavor-21, go ahead and get this. It's better than spending all that money on the Aries. If you are just looking for a decent starter gun or mid-range, mid-priced AEG, then go with something else. So thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Hopefully you like this video, and please, if you have any comments, questions, leave them down below right there, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible, or just send me a personal message and I'll answer that. So thanks for watching. See you guys later.